are live, and today we are doing, I am answering a question. I put out a poll on my stories asking people for the struggles they're having, and this is the one that was voted for me to talk about. So I'm going to be talking about it today. Hello, my dear. Thank you for joining me. So this is the one that was chosen from the poll. I'm going to read the question, and it's before I read the question, hey, hello, my dear. So thanks for joining me. And before I read the question, just in case, I know my dear so that knows who I am, but just in case you don't know or you've forgotten who I am Nene, and I am a self-love and confidence coach, and I work with introverted women in business who want to gain that confidence, to feel seen, heard, and understood. Hey, thanks for joining me. And the question that was asked, that was chosen for me to cover today is, I'm just going to read it so I don't mess it up. It says, I tend to have low self-esteem, and I'm not brave enough to tell someone when they're hurting me. Okay, let's do some disclaimers here. So because I don't know the full story. If this is a case of, domestic violence, or you're being hurt or someone else has been hurt, there is help out there for you to reach out and get support to make sure that everybody is in accordance, everything is fine, and that there is no harm done. That, let's put that out there. That needs to be sorted out. That if anyone's hurting you, or you get the gist. So now let's look at it from a broader perspective here. Having that low self-esteem and being brave enough to tell somebody that they're hurting you. Let's break it down. The first thing is you have to cultivate a strong self-belief and confidence in yourself. So that's key before you can tackle, because if you now go and say, look, stop hurting me, they could say or do anything and then brings you back to that state of feeling you're not wanting. So what I'll say is, first tackle you, because in general, in the psychology of things is there is the how we see ourselves, how we see the world, and how we see others. So the first thing we need to sort out is, how do we see ourselves? So let's focus on how do we see us, okay? In building and cultivating this self-love, there's so many ways we can do this. Yes, there's the affirmation, the journaling, the writing, and all the things that one can do to really build that self-love. And the key thing here is the embodiment of this. It's all good and well having these mantras and affirmations and this and that, but if you're not if you don't cultivate it enough to have that belief in yourself, it's not going to work. And the way we can really do it to make sure that it is embodied is, what you're thinking. Because what you think is what you would feel, and what you feel is what you do and what you have. So, when you're cultivating that thing, when we're doing all these different things to help us, it's not just doing those things, because if you're not really feeling it, it's really feeling into what you're saying. It's really feeling into all those things you're doing to really make sure that it is embodied in you, that it is connected. And once we've gotten all that thing, we've worked on, all those different aspects that we've covered and will still be covering on how to actually build that self-love. Once that is done, that will now empower you enough to believe in yourself. Because that's the key thing, because you need to have that increased belief in yourself. So once that belief is there, then we then start talking about, okay, how do we then focus on, having that respect in the relationship, or taking it to the next level. Okay, what ways can we navigate and the difficult situation? What are those conversations that needs to be heard? What are those things, those scenarios? But before we get to that level, if our belief in ourselves, if our self-love and confidence in ourselves is not optimal, then the next step, it's not, it's ain't gonna work. Because we truly need to be aligned. We truly need to be in that awe with ourselves. for us to be able to then take it to that next level. So having that low self-esteem is just going to make it that other people are just going to keep on keeping on, because you're not believing yourself. Like I said in a previous thing, like whether it is true or not, as long as you believe it, it is true. So whatever it is that you think is there, it will be there. So working on you, working on the belief you have for yourself is what's going to make the difference in how you're able to then project yourself, how you then be able to speak up for yourself and be able to be assertive and be able to be, put your point across to be respected. That is only going to happen when that self-love is strong enough for yourself, when that belief in yourself is there. Because yes, having those positive practice, having those, doing the affirmation, doing the, what do we do? The journaling, the meditation, the self-care, all those things. Doing all those things, great. But remember, it is about the embodiment of it. How do we feel into it? How do we, what we're doing? What are those practices we're doing? Are really connecting with ourselves to do those things? That's when we'll be able to really embody and unlock those limiting beliefs. Hey, my dear. So yes, discovering the power of self-love and confidence to unlock your potential is first knowing who you are by cultivating that strong self-love and confidence in yourself. And by doing so, you're embodying it. You're feeling into it. You're connecting into it. You're really beginning to really shine through. So yeah, I am just today on this live, I am answering a question that I put out in my poll, and the question was that was asked was, how do I tend to have low self-esteem. I'm just reading it, and I'm not brave enough to tell somebody when they're hurting me. And for that, when you're in that scenario, I'm just going to say again, like a disclaimer here, if you're in a position where you're being hurt or someone is hurting you, that you need to seek help. You need to get help to sort that out. It's not something that you just stay in. Seek help to sort that out, because I don't know what the scenario is. Let's just put that bit there, that it has to be done. You have to make sure you're safe for whoever else is around that, if this is in that level. But if moving on from that is then a case of knowing and helping you to cultivate that strong belief in yourself and confidence. And by doing that, you would then be able to stand up for yourself in that sense. So by cultivating that self-love and belief in yourself, confidence in yourself, is by doing those things that we kind of know, doing the affirmation, the mantras, the journaling, the writing, the meditation. All those things are all good and all. The key element that we need to add is the embodiment of it, the feeling of it, the feeling into those things. That really how do you feel when you're saying and empowering yourself with those things. We have talked about different ways where we can start cultivating those self-love, but the key thing there is really embodying it, really feeling into it and connecting and knowing and having all those things. And then we now take it on to, okay, how do we then empower ourselves to have that belief in ourselves, and then talk about the discovering, the navigating of the difficult conversations, the different scenarios that could rise up and all those things that would happen, to the point where we're now assertive, we can speak up for ourselves, we can gain that respect, and we're able to do that which we want. So and if you want to then carry on further with this, really diving down personally into the course, asking you those questions to figure out exactly what's the scenario, what's going on, we can always let's jump on a call, and then I can guide you into helping you, that you're really having a clear plan on really having the self-love for yourself, having that embodiment of it, to be able to get to the point where you're now in tune in that belief and being able to be assertive, to speak up and be bold enough to like say your piece with different scenario. And if there's any questions that arises from this, put in the comments down below and just let me know what other things that you want me to talk about, and then we just take it from there. And I just want you to remember, hey, that your voice matters and it's your time to own it. Bye for now.